Right. All right, now Thomas, where
Yeah.
is...
I've been really present again to possibility and where have I gotten resigned and what can I look forward to and I'm just so impressed with her that she gets the medical diagnosis she gets and she goes off and creates the edge out of that.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Did you read the post from Vern that when they found it was already in her blood and in her bones? I mean, the fact that she lived so vibrantly for another 21 years is like so bloody miraculous.
It is. That actually just hit me so deep. Okay, record.
Okay, I started the recording. Thank you very much, Joanne. Good morning. I know that, I don't know anything. I know there's people who we are expecting. I know there are people who are registered. And I don't know if they're having problems or if they're actually on. So how about if I just ask? I know I have Charlie, and I know I have Joanne. Is there anybody else on the line that I don't know about at the moment?
This is Rachel from California.
Rachel, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the webinar. Excellent.
This is Susan Buki from California.
Susan Buki, good morning, darling. Is David with you?
Good morning. Well, we're having a little technical difficulty, but is this something that we're going to be able to see as well as hear? Okay,
yes.
so that's part no, we can't get that part going yet.
Okay, are you on the computer at this moment?
Yes.
Okay, and tell me what you see, or if you're actually just going through the process and that's all you're just going through the process, I'll just let you be. But if you need some help, let us walk you through it.
Well, by the next time we'll probably get it, but this time it may be just listening. I think the problem is we need to download the mobile app, right? You're
not on a computer?
Yeah, well, I was on the phone. I also have my iPad. But David's on the computer, right? David, are you having trouble?
On the computer, it's easy. If you just if you click on download, don't worry, it doesn't do a bunch of stuff to your machine. It's really simple. If you click on the download, then it gives you a little, like a little app in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, and you touch that, and then that brings you up.
We'll get it by next time. Don't worry about it. We'll just listen for this time.
Rachel, are you able to see the screen?
I just see the PowerPoint presentation.
That's right. It says, welcome to the webinar. Please dial in. Don't use your computer, speaker, and microphone.
Yeah.
All right, good. And Scott, are you on the call? Okay, so we have Scott that's going to be joining us. Shep, are you on?
Yeah.
Good. Good morning. And Lisa?
Andrea,
fantastic. All of you guys have the PowerPoint just fine in front of you?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I am now going to, I'm going to mute the lines, everybody, and we're going to begin, okay?
So I'll mute, and mute is *6, right?
Don't you do anything.
Okay.
You are now muted.
Okay, now everybody's muted from each other. The only voice you can hear is mine. Good morning and welcome to the webinar and welcome to the Relationship Satisfaction Series. So if you just take a look at the screen, anything you do or don't do that causes a physical, emotional, spiritual, or mental change in another is communication. So I want to talk just a little bit about communication because the whole series that we're going to be doing rests in 7 specific communication skills. So communication, first of all, is a need-driven sequence of cause and effects. It's a process in which each person decodes meanings from each other. So we decode the meanings from each other's behaviors. We decode meanings from our experience, and then those needs that we're trying to fill, we try to fill them by responding verbally and non-verbally. So a key implication from this premise is that people in relationships can't not communicate. So whether or not you're speaking or not speaking, if you're in a relationship, there is no way communication is not happening, because you and I are always decoding meanings from one another. Now, for this course, there's a couple of things you're going to want. You're going to want a journal, a notebook, some way that you manage ongoingly. And when I mean ongoingly, I do mean every single day. I recommend it to some people Thursday night at the live class to have a 3x5 notebook in your back pocket or stuck in your purse, because during this first month, many things are going to pop into your brain, and you're going to want to scribble something down so that it can get reactivated later. Now, we'll talk more about this and you'll get it more clear, but at this moment, if you don't have a notebook in front of you, please grab something. And number two, I sent you a download. So I'm hoping that you all got the download. There's nothing for you to do with it yet other than download it, and if you can print it, that'd be awesome. If you have it on your screen, that's fine too. At this moment, I'm going to see if there's any questions about anything I've said so far. And all you have to do, if you have a question or you want to talk, if you press *6, it will open your line. So I'm at this moment asserting that nobody has any questions or issues, but just to check for technical stuff, I'm going to ask Joanne to press *6 to see if it opens your line. All right, then in that case, that tells me that it doesn't work, so I'm going to open everybody.
You are now unmuted.
Okay, at
Hello?
this moment, everybody's unmuted. If there's anybody that has anything to say your first name first, and I'll call on you.
Chef.
Yeah, Chef, baby.
Hey, you say you sent a download, and I'm looking for it because I didn't get an email.
Okay, so Chef, you and Lisa already have the documents, so you don't need to download anything. Thank you, though. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And then, Andrea, I know you have yours, so everybody else is fine for the moment? I'll open the line occasionally to check in, okay?
You are now muted.
Okay, so if you would, I'm going to back out so you can see this triangle that I'm using. So if you look at your screen, you'll see a big triangle. And David and Susan, don't worry. It's just a triangle with a big smiley face in the middle of it. If you would allow me to kind of give you the world of what this whole course is about, I'm going to use the triangle to explain it. So first of all, you guys, that the interest of what we're up to is called awakening. Now, listen, fundamentally, it's relationship satisfaction, every kind of relationship, okay? Any kind of relationship you have is what we want to impact. Communication skills is the foundation because there's nobody, every relationship expert on the planet will say the most important element of a relationship is communication. And yet, almost every person in a relationship will say the toughest element of a relationship is communication. So if communication is so darn important, then let's take a look at how we communicate with our own selves. see, we try so hard to communicate with each other. We try so hard to be nice to each other, to love each other, to always be good to each other. But we can't even be nice, loving, and good to ourselves all the time. So there is a key to unlocking this relationship to oneself that is fundamental to the design of any relationship you'll ever be involved in. So if you will, take the left side of this triangle. And by the way, this triangle represents human being. So this is just human being. And if you take the left side of this triangle and consider this as one aspect of being a human being, it is the human aspect, your humanness. And there are certain traits and characteristics that exist in your humanness. And one of those traits and characteristics I call personality parts. Another certain trait and characteristic of your humanness is you have needs. You have desires and you have wants. You want to become something. In fact, you probably want to be happy. In the life course, I asked how many of you want to be happy, and every hand went up. And you probably want to be peaceful. And I asked how many of you want to be peaceful, and all the hands went up. So I'm just asserting that everybody on this call has the same sentiment. You want to be free, and you want to be liberated, and I bet you want to be joyful and successful. You seek those things. And you seek all kinds of other things. Some of you want more money, a better career or job, and in Shep's case, a better retirement. Maybe you want more security or a new partner. Or maybe the partner you have, you want them to be different than they are. So my question to this humanness, this human side of the totality of being a human being is, are you satisfied? No. You're never satisfied. The human side of human being always wants more. It always wants better and or different. So if that's the case, when then will you be satisfied? I guess never. Because you see, you'll always be wanting. You'll always want more. You'll always want different. And you'll always be seeking something. The moment happiness shows up, how long does it last before you're looking for the next better happy? Or that happiness falls out and you're trying to put it back in again? So let's ask this side of being the human being, are you the capital S self? And that side is now answering, well, I'm an aspect of the self, a part of the self, but I'm not the self. I'm the human part of the self. And what are some other characteristics of that human part? Well, I have attachments. I suffer. I long and crave for, but I'm not the self. I am the human part of the self, inside of which many parts exist. So with your permission, I'm now going to go to the right side of the triangle. Because I imagine you're looking at this triangle and wondering why it's got a big smile on its face after everything I just said about its humanness. And this other side is the being part. It's the other aspect of human being. It's the being part. And the being part's a very interesting part because it just is. In speaking to the part to say, who are you? And it says, I just am. I just be. I'm not seeking anything. I'm not wanting anything, and I have no desires because for me, there's no lack or incompletion of any kind. Oh, really? Wow. Are you the self? No, I'm not the self. I'm the beingness of the self. I'm the no self, the no mind, the no thinker. So this human side on the left is the thinker, the thinking side, and this side, who I am on the being side, is I'm the not thinker side. Well, what are some characteristics of this being side? Well, there's not just no self or not self. There's really no interest. I even don't think about satisfaction because I have no relationship to satisfaction. There's nothing relative for me concerning am I satisfied or not satisfied. I'm always content. So now, with your permission, I want to ask the being side, well, when you look at the human side, what do you think? Well, I have a lot of empathy, a lot of compassion for the struggling and the suffering. I have a lot of empathy and compassion for the not being happy. I mean, the human side's never happy. It fakes it so it can fit in. It pretends. I'd love that side to experience me, the at rest, the completeness of it all. And now, finally, there's the apex. You go up to the top where it meets, and it includes everything. I am the apex. I am the human being. I include all of it, the humanness and the beingness, the thinking side, the not thinking side. Who I am is the non-thinker. I breathe in the present. I dwell in the non-thinking element. I include everything. It's not a problem for me. The humanness, the needs, the wanting, desires are all included. And I can rest when I want because the being side is so powerfully there. I have no preference. I move back and forth. I am liberated. I am the completeness of the whole. I am the self. So just rest in that for a moment and get what we're up to here. I want you present to the degree to which you make your humanness wrong. And maybe inside your own transformational journey, it occurred for you like it should be wrong. That being was where it's at. Being is where you want to get. And I would like to suggest that being was the beginning of your transformation, the access to being. And now the next level of your transformation is who you are is the apex, the inclusion of it all, the resisting nothing, the making wrong nothing. I'm going to give you an opportunity to share anything that's present for you before we continue on.
You are now unmuted.
The line's open. All you have to do is say your first name.
Charlie.
Charlie. Please.
Thomas, you began that. So I have a question.
Sure.
You began that conversation with a key to understanding ourselves, and then I'm left with understanding will never be satisfied.
And it won't, will it? For the human side of human being, understanding will never be satisfied. The moment we think we understand, what's the next step, Charlie? The moment we think we understand, the next step will be?
Be stuck.
Yeah. Consider the moment I understand something, the next thing that will happen is I'll question that understanding, which will lead to the next question.
Got it.
And is there anything wrong with that?
No.
There really isn't. But notice the humanness will make that wrong, as though we should be some other way. So imagine, Charlie, and everybody on the call, listen, I want you to know that the result of this course will naturally have you being the apex. You understand? This is not hard work. The work we're going to do together is not hard work. Why? Because it is your true nature. And our only goal is to give you more and more access to your true nature, where nothing about yourself, nothing about others, and nothing about life itself is resisted where you are. The energy of life is able to flow through and around you. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
It's very, very good. Thanks, Charlie, for that. Anybody else? Just say your first name. All right.
You are now muted.
So you and other people and myself have learned to listen. We've learned to process. We've learned to talk from our families, our teachers, our heroes, our friends, and in fact our enemies and our persecutors. And few of them, these people that we learn from, knew what you're about to learn here in these next few months. And people like you and I are often unaware of our current communications processes and our choices. Just like your hands have come to automatically use the keyboard on a computer, and for those of you who play musical instruments, how your hands have automatically come to using those instruments. You and I talk and we listen from habit, even if the results don't please us. How many of you have been present to loving and hating at the same time? How many times have you walked into a room and you acted a particular way and you walked out of the room and you said to yourself or to another, I just don't know what got into me? How many times have you had outbursts, a spell, or a mood, or you've been unusually clear and confused at the very same time. Multiplicity is normal. The natural ability of the brain, and it uses the mind. The brain reprograms itself in response to 3 very specific things at a very specific time. So your development years happen between birth and about age 25. For women, it can be 19 to 23. For men, 23 to 25. That's when the brain is generally fully developed. So during those first 20-some years of your life, the emotional body is easily bruised. And every time there is a significant bruise to the emotional body, the brain literally creates a new personality part. If there's some significant injury to the body, the brain will create a significant personality part. And if you're surrounded by environmental threats, you could have personality parts that get developed. We all have split personalities. But see, it used to be split personalities meant you were crazy. Well, you are crazy, but your craziness has nothing to do with your split personality. So in the early 80s, the book and then the movie Sybil or 3 Faces of Eve, you all might remember or know about, came around and it dramatized multiple personality, at that time called disorder. But it was dramatized in a way that it wasn't realistic. It was cool, but not realistic, so nobody could find themselves in a normal environment that way. Well, in 1985, Dr. Richard Schwartz determined that it is a natural process to create multiple personalities. And you and I talk for our personalities all the time, even though we don't necessarily realize it. If you take a look at the document that I sent you, you'll see the very first paragraph, multiplicity of the mind. And you'll see that it says, you know, maybe you want to go to an event and at the same time you say, well, a part of me really wants to go. You know, this morning, part of me really wants to be on the webinar, while another part of me, well, I'd rather, you know, go to brunch. You and I speak for our parts all the time, whether or not we notice it. So this thing we call I, this structure of your identity that we recognize moment by moment by moment is a mosaic, if you will. And when you look at the mosaic as a whole, you call that my personality. I am inviting you to take the mosaic apart. And we're going to start to investigate individual parts of your personality. Imagine, if you will, a bus full of people. And one or more people on the bus are saying X. While other people on the bus are saying Y. And a couple are saying Z. And now you got the bus driver who's trying to please everybody on the bus, but it's impossible. So imagine you are driving that bus and you have personality parts. Some are with you, some are against you, some don't even know who you are. The bus driver can listen and try to make decisions to take care of everybody, but it's fragmented. So the game in this course, the game for you and I, write this down please, is called harmony. At the apex of the triangle is harmony. So your personality is always evolving. It's a mosaic of beliefs, values, talents, limitations, memories, reflexes, priorities, fears, perceptions, and habits that make you unique. Listen, you are unique to every living human being on the planet, as well as every dead human being on the planet, and every human being that has not yet come. And yet we deal with our brain and our personality like there's one mind and one personality. And that is as archaic as living as though the world was flat. So think of your personality parts as a dynamic group, like talented members of an orchestra or a sports team. Each part is semi-independent and has its own goals, its own gifts, its own limits, its own experiences of the world uniquely. So Charlie, you sent me an email and you had made this statement. So, and I told you absolutely yes, so now I just want you to see absolutely. Each personality part exists in its own little world to some degree. Now, you can relate to this one of three ways. You can relate to it like a Sybil kind of thing, where you have like these vibrant, loud personalities that take you over, and it could seem alien to you. And you might like that view, and it's a perfect view if it works for you. Another possible way is you could just notice your personality parts are always there. Sometimes one's a little louder than the other. But no matter what, they're always flooding your true self. And your true self is that little voice. The one that says, if I had just listened to myself, I wouldn't have done that. That voice. The problem with the parts and the voices is they all sound the same because they all sound like you. And they all sound like you. Why? Because they've been there since the inception. You are now going to learn to distinguish them apart. Each of those parts can ally with, ignore, distrust, respect, scorn, or conflict with other parts. Your inner family, as it's referred to, of parts, or your team, or your crew, whatever words you want to use, can range between harmonious and purposeful, all the way to chaotic and unfocused, depending on who's leading the crew. And the goal for leadership in this course is your true self, your true nature. Now, I'm going to open the line. We're going to do a little work together.
You are now unmuted.
So if you will, please take a look at the sheet that says Attributes List. So, Joanne, I know you have yours. Shep and Lisa, I know you have yours. Charlie, I know you have yours. So, Andrea, do you have the handout that I emailed you?
Yes,
Thank you, honey.
I downloaded it. Yes, I did.
Very
I downloaded
good. Thank you. And then, Rachel, how about you? Do you have that?
No, I don't.
Okay, are you at a computer where you can see the email I sent you or not?
Yes, I am.
If you're willing, see if you can pull it up, even if you just look at it on the screen. And Scott, did you ever join us?
Yes, I'm here.
Very good, Scott. Good morning. Do you have the download by chance?
Yes, I have it.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thomas, according to the participant, Suzanne Young is on the phone, is with us as well.
Oh, great. Suzanne, welcome. Do you have the attributes list?
I sure do.
Beautiful. Okay, you guys. I'm now
Okay, this is Susan. Susan, you didn't ask me.
I'm sorry, honey. No,
Okay.
sorry.
So I have access.
In front of me.
I do have access to the slides, but I don't. I'm still not able to download that app. So it just said that it doesn't accept my email. So I'll have to work on that for next time.
All right. Well,
maybe I can get the PowerPoint. But I do have the what you sent, so that's good.
Thank you. That's the most important thing. Okay. So
thank you.
Thank you. Up until this moment, does anybody have any questions, anything you want to say before I shift gears a little bit? Just say your first name and I'll call on you.
So I have Joanne.
Thank you, Joanne.
So you made a comment about the personality is evolving. Is the being an evolving mechanism as well?
Well, consider it this way. Being is complete. It's whole, complete. There's no shift. So the evolving only happens with the personality part as your identity. So how does that work? Well, as you create more harmony within the personality parts, you have more access to being. Why? Because you're becoming your true nature, which is the apex that holds all of it. So when one thing shifts, everything shifts. As you already know, because you've done some of this work with me already, and it's miraculous. Does that answer your question, Joanne?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
You are now muted.
You're now muted again, so if you needed something, sorry. All right, so take the attributes list out, and those of you who have not already done this work, this is mostly going to be to guide you, and you're going to do some of this offline, and I'm going to connect with each one of you individually. So you'll hear from me today, and we'll schedule a time that I can walk through with you a little bit more, but let me tell you how this works, and it's important that you do take note, because when I talk to you on the phone, it isn't going to be to direct you, it's going to be to help tease out the work you've done. So on the attributes list, this is a list of common attributes that people have reported to me as recognizing in their own personality. Some of those things you'll look at and say, what does he mean, did or done? Or what does he mean, there's other ones on there that you may have that question. Here's the answer. I don't mean anything. It's whatever you make it mean, and you respond only to what you make it mean. And here's how you're going to respond. Notice there's 4 columns. Column 1 are the attributes list. Column 2 is blacked out because I'm going to have you not do anything with that. Column 3 says, I don't have it in front of me. Column 3 is average, ordinary. It just means regular times. You know, nothing's happening unusual. And then the 4th column is stressful, emergency, crisis times, when you're under pressure. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through this list. And you can do it right now while I'm talking, if you like, and you just notice any of the attributes that you say, yeah, I can see myself in that. When does it show up the most? Does it show up everyday ordinary, or does it usually show up under pressure or crisis times? It can show up in both occasionally, and there are many on the list that you won't relate to at all. So those you would leave blank. So now, having gone through instructions, one of the things I've learned over time is a better check-in, because I'm sure some questions are coming up.
You are now unmuted.
So just say your first name and ask any questions you have about the direction I just gave you. Can you send it to me? Yeah. Well, all right, well, then I'll call this miraculous if nobody has any question about that list. Everybody got it? You got it? Yay. All right, makes me happy.
You are now muted.
So I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes to go through. So those of you who have done the work, I know you didn't get it completely finished, so you can go to the last part of the list and do that. And those of you who are new with the list, I'm going to give you an opportunity to go through the first, 10, 15, 20, whatever you can get through in the next 3 or 4 minutes, okay? So if you guys would take a few minutes and do that now and just put an X in the boxes.
You are now unmuted.
Okay, I have you unmuted, just to let you know. And you can continue to work if you need to, as I'm speaking. The intention here is to pull for personality parts that exist where you are. Now, if you consider you've been living your life with everything blended, we are now going to begin a process of unblending. That is, to pull parts out. Everybody has about 5 to 12 personality parts. I am not interested in you just getting your parts. I'm interested in you learning how to work with others to get their parts. So a part of this training is, of course, you're going to get your personality parts, but you're also going to have the ability to work with other people. You're not muted. You're going to have the ability to work with other people. So I'm now going to work with 1 or 2 of you on your list to give you a sense of how you listen for and how you pull for personality parts. So who'd be willing to work with me?
I would.
That's Susan?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the call, just a training for everybody, always say your first name.
Oh, sorry.
That way
Susan.
that's okay. That's okay. I mean, you know, it's something that you get used to. I'm on these things every day, so I kind of start to get it down. Okay, so Susan, what you want to do is you're on the first page of the list, and you want to tell me the first one that you have marked.
Get her done.
Get her done. And do you have get her done marked in one box or both box?
Well, I put both boxes, but as I've been going down the list, I noticed that most of the things that I would put a check on ordinary, when I'm stressed, I kind of shut down. So I'm going to have less on the stress side, but for the first one, I did put both.
Okay, very good. So tell me a little bit about get her done in your life. How does it show up? Tell me a little bit about what it looks like during ordinary times and what it looks like during stressful times. And pause for a second. Everybody else, you're listening to the questions that I'm asking. You may want to take a few notes on those kinds of questions, okay? Go ahead, Susan.
All right. Well, in ordinary life, I'm a morning person, so I get up 4:45 on work days, and when I'm laying there for the first half hour, I'm thinking what I'm going to get done. I'm thinking about my day. I'm already thinking about my day and what I'm going to get done. So that's not a bad thing, and it's not a good thing. Sometimes. And it's not good either. You know, like sometimes I have to really balance it and say, what can I let go?
So tell me, okay, everybody pay close attention. Tell me a little bit about this part that says I have to balance it and let go.
So, well, I'm in a program right now where I'm really lucky. I have sort of like a coach that I check in with 3 times a week. And it started out where I called her more often, but now it's just 3 days. And so it's almost like she's that part of me. She's helped me strengthen that part of me that's more balanced, that says there's just so much you can do. And it's okay to miss out on some things. It's okay to miss out on some things because there's a part of me that doesn't want to miss out on anything.
Got it. Okay, stop there. Just making some notes. Okay, so everybody, right now, what happened in just one attribute, we've uncovered 2 very distinct personality parts. There's one part that doesn't want to miss out on anything. And then there's the other part, which I'm referring to as the balance part. And the balance part, it sounds like, Susan, you're starting to get more access to. It might have been a part that was kind of dormant or laying in the background, kind of wanted a voice, didn't have one, so you hired a coach, and the coach, just by the very nature of the work that we do as coaches, help to wake that up so it has a voice. Accurate?
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay.
Except that I don't pay her. Except the part that I don't pay her, believe it or not.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine, whether you pay her or not. You have somebody, though, that you relate to as a coach.
A committed listener.
By the very nature of that relationship, she's helping you wake this part up.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, good. And then you have this other part that doesn't want to miss out on anything. Everybody listen now. This is another critical question that helps to dig down. When you consider that part, Susan, like if you could just be with that part right now as though it's you and let everything else fade to the background just a little bit, how old does this part feel?
5.
About 5 years old. And does it feel female, male, unisex? How does it feel as far as a sexuality? Not sexuality, sex.
I've never thought about that before. I would guess it was female. It's me as a little girl. It feels like it's female.
Yourself. Okay, yourself as a little girl. All right, very
good.
I
would guess
what?
I'm guessing it's female. I'd have to think about that one a little more.
So, listen, and everybody, the part what you don't need to do is think.
Okay.
It should be, really and truly, it will be, not it should be. It will be right there for you. And if there's nothing there for you, then you just say there's nothing there for me. And then eventually things will show up. So what I want you to write down for yourself, Susan, is a title that says parts, underline it, and underneath parts, I want you to write down the balanced part, flip a line, and then put the part that doesn't want to miss out on anything. And I bet the part that doesn't want to miss out on anything, I bet there's something it likes to be called, like a name. Is there a name that comes up for you that part might like to be called?
No, I can't think of one.
Okay, not a problem.
Like nothing comes up.
That's fine. So we're just going to call it the part that doesn't want to miss out on anything. And eventually, everybody, some major parts you might end up naming, just for the fun of it. I have a client who has a very dominant part, and it interferes in his marriage. And so when I did couples work with them, we named that part Stanley. And now both of them can talk to Stanley. So when Stanley's there, the wife can say, okay, I think Stanley's in the room, and it's probably a good idea for me to take a walk or something. And he'll be like, yeah. And those of you who have done the wisdom course, you know, it turns into a little bit of comedy at some point. And now Stanley has a lot less influence on the relationship. Now, for anybody on the outside, it might sound crazy, but for the people who are living it, their life has altered dramatically just because they named a dominant part. Susan, thanks for working with me. Great job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Somebody else.
Andrea.
Nobody else. Okay.
Andrea.
Andrea, you are welcome to do it, and I don't want anybody to feel pressured to do it. So if you're up for it, good. And if you're really not, you're just doing it to be great, that's okay.
No, no, this is perfect. No, I just got a text from the caregiver about that my daughter was trying to choke herself. So this is perfect. I could use some. So in pressure times or in average times. So the one attribute that shows up for both when I go down the list is anxious.
Yeah.
So
okay. So first of all, I want to clarify. Everybody else, mute your own phones, okay? Because there's a lot of activity happening. Andrea, you stay open. Everybody else, mute your own phones. Just press your own little mute button. Thanks. Now, it is not, so the way you're going to go down the list is simply in order of the list. It doesn't matter which box is checked as long as there's some box checked. Now, Andrea, given you chose anxious, we're going to use that one. But I just want everybody to know that in the general work, you don't have to bounce around. You can, but easier just to go right down the line. Okay, so tell me about your anxiety in your everyday, ordinary times when there's no real pressure, no real crisis, no emergencies.
So, and this part has improved, but even waking up. So there's this. If I'm not using my tools, like if I just wake up, there's almost like it's morning, and you know, and how's Lauren going to be? That's my daughter. You know, I really have to pull it together, like to breathe, to do heart-centered breathing, to use tools that I can move out of that quickly. But that's kind of like there's like this underlying anxiousness.
Yeah.
And then,
Got it. Okay, very good. Anything else about everyday, ordinary times? You're out of bed now. You've used your tools. You've done your heart-centered breathing, and now the day has begun.
There's just, I have this.
Somebody's got to mute. Please, somebody. You got a TV going on. There's something loud in the background. They're obviously not listening to me. And they did. Thank you. Okay. Andrea. So now the day is going on. Okay.
The day is going on. And am I going down for another attribute or how anxious shows up?
Nope. I want to talk about anxiousness. You've gotten out of bed. This is where it shows up first. It's like it's in the background already. You use your tools. And now you've leveled out, but you're in your normal day. Tell me about
my normal day
showing up.
So my normal day is, so I may have evened out, so I'm doing fine, and then just like right now, something happened where the caregiver said we're coming home from the gym. So in the morning it might look like, so Lauren is anxious in the morning, her cortisol levels are high, and so there's this, so it takes her a while to move through that, and so I'm really working at breathing compassionate, I do heart math, so breathing, doing that, like there's this, and I'm grateful. Like that helps me, so there's a feeling of gratefulness throughout the day too that I can pull back and use my tools. I'm so grateful that I have this, and past tools. So I look at it as whatever shows up for my day. I work with preschoolers. I'm a speech therapist. So maybe something that might be challenging, like looking at it as an opportunity to make a difference, but also taking a look at myself and coming back to neutral, coming back to whatever it is I'm creating. I get many, many, many opportunities during the day to do that, especially with my daughter. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. So sometimes it might look like beating myself up, my anxiety, like because I didn't do it the right way, or I might go into overcare, trying to fix it so that then I'm okay. If it's okay here, if she's okay, then I'm, and so I see that part, that overcare part that has been out of balance. I see that improving. And
did you call it?
And
did you call it the overcare part? Is that what you called it? The overcare.
Overcare, and it might look. So I called it overcare. On the list, I would call that controlling.
Okay, very good. So a couple of so everybody, you can hear there's in this particular interaction, there's a lot. And if you're not yet skilled at it, it's hard to capture the part waking up. But if you keep letting the person talk, even yourself, eventually you'll start saying key words. And she did. So, Andrea, you said, this is what stood out to me.
Okay.
I beat myself up or considered that I didn't do it right. Now, what I don't want to have happen, so I'm going to put this in just for now. I don't want you to fix your parts. Nobody. All you're doing is identifying them. This is not about fixing anything. In fact, I want you very clear that we're not even interested in any of your parts ever going away. And by the way, they won't anyway. We are interested in creating harmony with them, creating their own transformation, if you will. So the part that I hear over there with you is the beat myself up part.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the beat myself up part, and we're going to look at that in a moment. And then there is the fix it part.
Okay.
Now, you also brought up the overcare part, but we're going to talk about that some other time, because that part exists, I'm sure. But the part that's there right this moment that I hear the loudest, that demands attention, do you understand? The ones that show up first, you guys, they're demanding attention. So I'd like to hear a little bit about the beat myself up part. And if you're able, Andrea, to give up any of the conversations about how you've gotten better or it's gotten fixed, if you can. Not have to, but if you can, just leave that out of the conversation so as not to dilute the part. Tell me a little bit about the beat myself up part.
So, so my daughter will wake up at night, and so I might go to her room. You know, she's calling me. I might go to her room, and depending on the tone of my voice, so I might, you know, I'm tired. I just got to. I might be. It's a grouchy voice. It could be a caring voice. It could be when the situation escalates for her. It's like I can see in myself that if I had handled it differently, it would have gone a different way. And so there's this, when I say I beat myself up, and, you know, that happens over and over again. So I get opportunities to practice doing it a different way. Oh, okay, it didn't work that way. Here's another way. But I, you know, that's something that happens a lot.
Yes.
So I beat myself up.
Yeah. So
or if I don't,
go ahead.
Or just like in my day, if I didn't send the email out, and I see, oh, I wish I would have sent it out earlier. There's impact on it. There's this kind of getting down on myself. I call it, you know, beating myself up, and you know, just I didn't do it right, kind of thing. And if I had, it would have gone this way. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. And then, so around this particular part, there's a lot of resistance. You resist the part itself. You resist the situation that's happening or not happening. I see that there's a lot of resistance connected to that part. Is that accurate?
I don't know. I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah. It's almost like I hate this part, so I'm going to fix it. I want this part to go away. It's not right. It shouldn't be this way. It should be another way, and that wakes up the fix-it part. The part that now has all the breathing, who's doing heart math and stuff. Okay, good. Very, very good. So I want you conscious of the beat myself up part. I want you to be present to that part right now. Allow it to be in the forefront, and let everything else just stay to the back the best that you can. And I want to speak only to the beat myself up part, and I'm asking that part, how old does that part feel?
That is a very young part.
Yeah, very young part. Very good.
Yes, it's a preschool part.
Preschool, nice.
Yeah.
And does it feel male, female, no sex?
Probably female.
Probably female. Okay, good. And if it wanted to be called something, is there a name that's automatically there that it might want to be called? It could be right there on the tip of your tongue. It could be.
I'm saying getting attention, but I don't know what that means because it doesn't make sense. So.
Yeah. Well, we're going to say that might be an attribute of that part that somehow it demands or needs attention. I'm going to circle that so that we can talk about it one-on-one. But I'm going to recommend, and everybody who's on the call, I don't always do this, and given your learning how to do it, I'd much rather do things in a particular order, but screw that. It's not how I'm wired. I am going to recommend that you give this one a name. You do not have to name it now. But this is one of those parts that's a dominant part for you. It's very loud. It's around all the time. And most of your day is going between beat myself up, fix it. Beat myself up, fix it. Beat myself up, fix it. Follow?
Perfectionistic. Yes.
Oh, did we have bad reception?
No, I said being perfectionistic. So I don't know what name that is or come up with a different name, but To me, it sounds like I'm trying to be perfect.
Maybe. We'll talk more about that. I want this beat myself up part to have a name. I want it to be something that when you and I talk, we will reference it by a name, any kind of name. I don't care if it's Bottle, Tree, Mary, Linda, whatever suits you and the part, because once it has a name, you're going to have a transformation of the part that wasn't available doing it the way you've been doing it, and that's a promise, absolute promise. A lot less work. Andrea, thank you. Very good job.
Thank you.
Very, very good job. Now, everybody else on the line, unmute yourself just for a moment, and I just want to check in with you. Did you get value out of these two interactions, and did you see something for yourself? Don't worry, I'm not going to make you share. Just say yes or no so I know where we are.
Yes, that was great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Charlie, yes.
Thanks, Charlie. Okay, guys. I'm going to let the three of you speak for everybody else.
You are now muted.
All right. Very, very good work. Okay, guys. So how do we know that the true self or the apex of the pyramid is actually in leadership? Because it has very specific attributes. You see, keep in mind that the apex of the pyramid is all-inclusive. It includes, Andrea, the beat-me-up part. It includes the fix-it part. It includes the overcare part and the perfectionist. It's not interested in anything other than being present to all of it. And when you're present to all of it and resistance is let go of, you have the experience of the 7 C's. Calmness, curiosity, connectedness, confidence, creativity, courage, and clarity. And that, ideally, is what you want. And what you don't want is to have to work for it. Do you understand? We've been trained to process ourselves. Since the 80s, the introduction of processing took over the planet. And it was a necessary stage, by the way, very necessary. It got to a point where we're all trying to be, I like this comparison. You know, if you consider the clouds in the sky, your personality parts, your stories, your judgments, your evaluations, and that is for yourself who you are. And then one day you wake up and you realize, I'm not that. Who I am is the sky. And you're so enamored with, my God, I'm the sky. And my job is to always be the sky. And I got to get rid of the clouds because who I am is the sky. And what I want you to know is, yes, you are the sky who loves to be the clouds. So the game is to include who I am, the sky, and who I am, the clouds. There's nothing to fix. There's really nothing to change. True transformation is the inclusion of all of it with no resistance. Write that down, with no resistance. Throughout the course, we're going to deal with all the stuff you resist in life. We're not going to be doing that tonight or today, but as we go. I want to share with you a few of my personality parts just to help you as you start to uncover yours. And I want you to know that just by virtue of this conversation, when we hang up this morning, you will be going throughout your day and you will start to notice personality parts. And you got to have something to scribble it down on because it will blend back in and we won't be able to pull it out. If you just take a look at the conversation that we just had with Andrea, we got 4 very specific parts. The beat myself up part, the fix-it part, the over-care part or controlling part, and the perfectionist. 4 parts out of just one attribute conversation. So that list of attributes, I think you might realize now, though you're going to go through and complete the whole list, we may only talk about 4 or 5 of them and get access to all your personality parts. So you don't have to worry that, oh my gosh, we got to get through every single one and have a conversation about every single one. No, not necessarily the case. So some of mine, I have the fast and furious part. Anybody who's been in my workshops or seminars has seen that part. It's an entertaining part, but it's also a part that's hard to get connected to. There's the angry and impatient part. Anybody who's close to me, you know, my spouse, my parents, my family, my closest friends probably know that part better than anybody else. The childish part, I saved that for my mother. The misunderstood part and the defensive part. Those were the first 2 that showed up for me when I did parts work, and I never realized the degree to which they dominated my life, that I was being guided by the experience or the attributes of being misunderstood and then defending myself. And I had very sneaky ways of doing it because, you know, some parts don't want to be seen because it could be embarrassing. There's the controlling part, and then I have the quirky part, and I have the restless part. So that just shares with you some parts that are mine personally. If you look at the screen, I've put on the screen a bunch of common parts that people have. I know not everybody can see. I'll just read a few of them. There's the troublemaker part, sometimes called the saboteur. There's the perfectionist, the entertainer, perhaps the people pleaser. There's the procrastinator, the number, the manipulator, the distractor or the magician, the competitor, the aggressive part, the judgmental part, the doubter part, the suspicious part, the abandoned part, the good obedient part, the lusty teen part, the sad and hopeless part. So those are just a few that just help move your brain and your mind in the direction of parts thinking. I want you to take on parts thinking and parts speaking between now and our webinar scheduled for October 24th. October 24th will be class number 2. It is not a repeat or a rehash of what we're doing today. It is a part of your course. What does parts thinking look like? It looks like this. I'm speaking, and the way I'm speaking right now is very deliberate. So in my mind, I say, oh, that's my very deliberate part. I want to communicate. That could be connected to my misunderstood part, because you see, the other side of every part is its opposite. Being misunderstood allows me to be very understood. You get it? And as you transform a part, the other side starts to get bigger. And when it gets bigger, the one that was dragging you down moves to the background and allows its better side to the front. Part speaking. When you speak in parts, you do what I just did. A part of me, and when you heard it when Andrea and I were talking, she was very good at saying, well, you know, a part of me, blah, 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 blah. That's speaking in parts. Now, some people do it a lot, and some people don't. My friend who's on the line, Joanne, and I, we go back many years. And years ago when I first started coaching, she and I would be in conversations, and she would speak in parts. And she'll laugh later to tell you guys. I would say to her, you don't have any parts. There's just you over there. Quit saying parts. A lot of things change over the years, right? Okay. Now that I said that, I got myself a little lost, but I'll get right back on. So the first communication skill, And there are 7 skills, which I'll go through in a moment. But the first skill is called awareness. I want you to start becoming self-aware. You're getting self-aware of this thing called your inner family, your mosaic, your parts, your committees, your teams, your kids, whatever you want to call them. But whatever that is for you, for me it's my team. My team knows little of the world, and the team is driven more by needs and emotion than by logic. My team has a short attention span. It wants right now gratification. My team independently can't protect themselves from emotional injury. And there is another subset of the parts, and we won't be doing a lot of work with those, and don't worry, it won't matter. It's mostly good for people who are coaching and mentoring, but some parts we refer to as protectors. And as we do our one-on-one calls, these will start to show up for you and you'll understand them better. So during these next 6 months, we will be developing 7 very specific communication skills. Number 1, and what we're doing for this entire month, is inner and self-awareness, just as I distinguished. Number 2, which will be next month, we're going to get into clear thinking. So it's clear thinking versus fuzzy thinking. Fuzzy thinking happens when all your parts are blended and you're false self-directed. You see, when your parts lead the show, that's false self. When the apex, true self, leads the show, you have clear thinking. What makes that different than anything else? Well, you see, when you are true self-led, you make choices that make more sense to what you're dealing with in the moment. They are less emotional. They are driven by what you're truly committed to. See, when I look at my relationship, I am committed to something very specific. I'm committed to an extraordinary life, not just for myself, but an extraordinary life for my couple. And not just an extraordinary life for my couple, but an extraordinary life for my spouse. And that's what I'm committed to. And when clear thinking is there, every choice I make is given by that commitment. That's clear thinking. That is true self-leadership. Then number 3 is called digging down. You notice the conversations that I mocked for you this morning. Those conversations are called digging down. I'm going to train you in how to dig down, not just for yourself, but for the people around you that you care about. This will give you a new way of communicating with people, not to process them, but to allow each other to uncover parts of your own personality so that you could connect at a more authentic level. Then there's empathic listening, which I put on here empathetic, but it's empathic listening. And empathic listening is heart listening, sometimes referred to as reflective listening. I'm going to train you in new ways to listen, where you listen with all of you. You listen with your skin, your feeling. You listen with your heart. You listen with your breath. You listen with your ears, and you listen with your eyes. And we'll train you to listen with all of you. And then the next one is called meta-talk. Meta-talk is talking about talking. So here you are. Let's say you're in a relationship with your mother, or you're in a relationship with your spouse, or you're in a relationship with your kid, or you're in a relationship with your best friend, and you have communication breakdowns, and you don't know how to deal with the communication breakdowns. Well, I'm going to train you in meta-talk. That's where you stop everything and you talk to each other about how you talk. You talk to each other about how you communicate, not to make one right and one wrong, but to uncover the reality of this is how we communicate. And when we understand how we communicate, magic happens. And the last two we'll be doing together, effective assertion and win-win problem solving. Effective assertion says, if I'm clear thinking, if I'm self-aware, and if I'm listening with all of me and I understand how I talk, then I can, in those moments, stand firm in an assertion, and I can effectively use the assertion to move the communication forward. This is especially powerful when you are a coach, because as a coach, you have to have empathy for people. You have to allow people to go through the spaces they go through. You've got to have some compassion. But you also have to be able to be the guy who draws the line in the sand and say, hey, wake up. This isn't going to work. That's one example of effective assertion. And then win-win problem solving is that we never, ever want in our relationships the ending of a communication to leave someone win-lose or lose-win, because that puts a dent in the armor of the relationship. Win-win sometimes looks like we'll make no choice right now. So those are the 7 skills, and you will have all 7 skills clear for yourself at the end of this program. And you will be completely transformed as true self-leadership. I love this quote from Neil Walsh. He says, go within or go without. So if you want harmony, then the work we're doing is the access to that work, because we start by going within. The other aspect to awareness is these 4, I forgot how I referred to it, but there's 4 parts, I guess you could call it, just for lack of a better word at the moment. And these 4 parts are inside me awareness, so this is your personality part, elements, the 4 elements. Then there's inside you. This is the empathy part, the heart part. So I'm aware of me, and now I'm aware of you. But then there's the awareness of us. There's not just me and you now. There's an us. And us is different than me, and us is different than you. And when there's us, there's around us. Awareness includes all 4 elements. Awareness is the foundation of effective communication. It's learning to being non-judgmentally aware, moment by moment, of your and your communication partner's key attitudes, feelings, thoughts, needs, and conflicts. We all mostly think we're aware. Why is that? Because we are aware. We're aware of what we're aware of. And in there lies the problem. Because we're all aware of what we're aware of, then of course we consider ourselves aware. This attitude profoundly hinders our key relationships. It hinders living on purpose. And it hinders communicating effectively over time. So I'm requesting that each one of you take the case that you are not aware. Just for 6 months, you are not aware. Be that you're not aware. And you be interested in awareness. So now we're going to do an exercise together. And I'm going to ask all of you to please give me your full attention. And I realize that on a webinar, it really takes something. And I want to acknowledge each and every one of you for who you've been on this call, for being aware, alert, and taking everything in and using it as we go. And wherever you are in this moment, connected, disconnected, loving it, hating it, wherever you are, I include all of that as our humanity. And I'm going to ask you right now, please, just to be present with me. Sit back, nothing in your hands or arms, and just let me lead you through an awareness exercise as we complete our call. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you'll answer the questions to yourself, but don't be so quick. The question itself is more important than the answer. Our only intention is to get you completely awake, completely aware. The answers to the questions, you don't get any points, and you don't get to be right about them. Right this moment, you're seeing something. Make sure your eyes are open. You're seeing something. Maybe it's the flicker on the screen of your computer. Maybe you're very fortunate to have a nice window that you're looking outside of and you see the trees and you see a little wind blowing through the leaves. You might even see a few birds. Seeing is happening. So please allow yourself to see that which is in front of your eyes right now and only that which is in front of your eyes. And I want to ask you a question. Does it take any thought on your part to see that which is already there? Does it take any thinking for you to see the object, the color, the shape, or the movement of that which is already in front of your eyes? No. Seeing is happening. And does it take any decision on your part, any effort to see that which is already there in front of you? No effort, no decision making. Seeing is happening. And let me ask you, from your subjective experience, does it take any time between the object being in front of your eyes and the experience of actually seeing it? Subjective experience, no time. So we could say that seeing right now is happening outside of time, with no thought, with no decision, and no effort. So tell me, could you, would you, is it okay to relax right now into that which is seeing? Would you relax right now into being that which is experiencing this very moment? What is that? Or who is that is experiencing this very moment in time by seeing? And just like seeing, close your eyes now and hear the sounds around you. Notice hearing is happening. Does it take any thought, any thinking on your part to hear the sounds that are already there? Does it take a decision or an effort to hear that which is already present to your ears? And just like seeing, is there any time delay in your subjective experience between the sound and your experience of the sound? So just like seeing, we could say hearing is happening, and it's always happening. Without time, thought, effort, or decision, hearing is happening where you are. So Could you, would you, is it okay to relax right now, this very moment, into being that which is hearing? Could you, would you, is it okay to relax into being that which is experiencing this very moment in time? Thank you. Who is that? Or what is that that's experiencing this moment right here, right now? And then lastly and finally, notice the sensations in your body. Maybe you feel the seat of the chair against your body. Maybe you feel the floor against the soles of your feet. Perhaps there's tension or discomfort, or maybe just complete relaxation. But notice sensations in your body. Feeling is happening. And as you bring awareness to the feeling that's already happening, does it take any thought, any thinking on your part to feel? Is there any decision or effort to feel that which is already aware? Is there any decision or effort, and is there any time delay between the awareness of an experience in the body, the feeling in the body, sensation in the body, and the actual experience of it? So just like seeing and just like hearing, we could say feeling is happening outside of time, with no thought, with no decision and no effort. Could you, right now, be that which is seeing, hearing, and feeling in this very moment? Could you, would you, is it okay to relax now into being that which is experiencing this moment right now, right here in this time? Don't forget to breathe. Who is that? What is that that is experiencing this very moment? Whatever that is, notice, does it have any edges? Does it seem to have a beginning or an end? Is that which is seeing over there and hearing over there and feeling over there where you are any different than that which is seeing, hearing, and feeling over here where I am? Or are we one? At this level, are we connected? Allow yourself now just to be. Open your eyes. Be present to this very moment.
You are now unmuted.
And let's compare notes. Let me know what's happening, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing. Those who have a lot of noise in your area, mute your phone, because I've unmuted everybody. Somebody who's in a crowd of people, mute your phone. All right, we're just going to have to include that, because whoever that is evidently doesn't hear us. So somebody, if you would, just share what you're present to, what you got out of the exercise, please. To say your first name. You'll have to unmute those. Do that.
This is Jeannie.
Jeannie.
Feeling very just presence, peaceful and present.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being present. Wonderful. Somebody else? What are you present to?
Andrea?
Yes, Andrea.
Oh, just like Jeannie, being present, so in the moment of being present, like anxiety leaves. I'm just being. I feel peaceful.
Yeah, good. I call it simple awareness. We're just aware. And, thoughts are only happening right this moment. Breathing is only happening right this moment. Real life is only happening right this moment. Anything past and anything future are simply thoughts in our imagination, illusions, if you will. So between now and our webinar on October 24th, you're going to connect with me as your communication partner. Okay, so on here it says communication partner, but it's going to be with me. And I'm going to reach out to each of you to create that. Now, those of you who are in the live workshop, you have a communication partner. So the only ones I'm going to be reaching out to are the people who are webinar only. Not to leave you guys out, but the only way I can work it out with the webinar folks is to be their partner for now. Between now and October 24th, please write 2 dialogues that you notice between 2 or more of your internal personality parts. We call that thinking. So, you have thoughts. Andrea, I think, said it. She said, I beat myself up, and then there's another part that shows up trying to fix it. So there's always a conversation between the beat myself up part and the fix it part, you see. So that could be a dialogue. Next, and the toughest part of all, choose one day to unplug. No cell phone, no computer, no TV, no internet. Just thinking with another human being. One day a week to unplug. Good luck. Good luck. I don't mean to be ugly, but boy, that's a tough one, but it is rewarding. So I'm excited to see who's able to accomplish it and what it's provided.
You are now muted.
I have unmuted the phone just to give you the opportunity to say anything you might like to say to be complete. I love you. I appreciate you. I honor you. I respect you. Thank you for your humanness. Thank you for your beingness. And thank you for this journey that we're on together. Anybody have anything to say before we complete the call? I don't know if I'm muted or unmuted. Let's see.
You are now unmuted.
This is Susan.
Oh,
Can you just...
Now we're unmuted. Sorry, now I can
No, thank you. Can you just say one more thing about the unplugged day? Because I wasn't sure if you meant one day between now and the next webinar, or one day per week.
One day per week for the whole series. Thank you for asking. Because I can assure you, between now and the end of the month, you're going to try and fail, perhaps, I don't know. Some people are already good at it. I'm speaking really, I'm putting on you guys what's on me. Like I have really been working hard to do it. I've done it, but it's really taken a lot for me to do it.
So that includes cell phone and computer, or also TV, or what else?
Yeah, TV, anything that is a distraction from just being.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Joanne.
Anything you want to say?
Joanne?
Yeah, Joanne. Yeah.
Oh, on this iPad, I could do no cell, no computer, no internet for the day. But the TV, my brain automatically went, well, I don't need to watch the TV. I'll watch my iPad, and I'll go Netflix so that I'm not watching TV.
Well, that's internet.
So, yeah. Well, I realize that.
You have a sneaky brain.
I do have a sneaky brain, and I'm putting it out there to get it complete.
Joanne,
yeah.
I would put that on your list of parts. You have a sneaky part.
Okay, I got my parts here.
No blue light. No blue light.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's
oh
great.
My God.
Anybody else?
Is music okay?
Yeah, I would say music is just fine. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anything to say to be complete? Doesn't have to be questions. It can be. Whatever you need. Okay. Well, then I will be with you on October 24th. As soon as we hang up, I'm going to make a couple of calls and get you guys in my calendar. Thank you very, very much. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Thomas.
Bye, Thomas.